What is up, internet? So today I'm going to be talking about Jessica Nigri. If I don't do this video now, I probably will just keep forgetting and never do it. I keep telling myself I'm going to do this video, so now I'm finally going to do it. So Jessica Nigri, first off, who is she? Well, it's a very interesting story, and for some reason I stumble across occasionally all these random cool things that I'm a part of, somewhat, not really, on the internet, just because of how long I've been on here and the stuff I do on here. But anyhow, Jessica Nigri is classified as a cosplay slash internet personality. She's mainly known for her cosplay. So what does that mean? What does cosplay mean? Basically, they dress up very intensely for a specific anime, manga, cartoon, film, anything, a character from that film. So we're talking not just a costume you can buy at Walmart. We're talking makeup, they build their own weapon, they have all this armor that they buy and construct themselves, and it legitimately looks like you are out of a film. And if you've ever watched or read anime or manga, their costumes and wardrobes and equipment and weapons and accessories get pretty ridiculous. And if you've ever been to Comic Con, which is a convention, and I know some of you guys are gonna be like, why are you explaining all these things like they've never been heard of? This is common knowledge. Well, you know, that's what I used to believe for a lot of topics I talk about. But really, even when 3,000 or 300,000 or 3 million or 5 million people or 10 million people or 100 million people know about this topic, in reality that's like nothing. That's like 1 in 100 people. And if you've ever seen the amount of people I've talked to, you start to realize that's not the truth. But anyhow, you know, okay, so here we are here, and you got all this cosplay going on, and you have these conventions. Comic-Con's the biggest one. That one's a more sort of American convention in California, held annually. There's also one in, I believe, New York. But the California one's the hugest, and you have all these gatherings of pretty much nerds who are great people, usually, and they come together every year, and they've been doing this for years, and they dress up in the most ridiculous things. But in terms of that conventions, I mean, it's decent, but when you go to the anime, manga conventions, those are even crazier. And they've been getting crazier each year. And so Jessica Nigri is someone who went onto this scene, and she's now exploded. She has about 2.7 million fans on Facebook, and she has about 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. But here's the thing, I knew about her since her very start, and it's a very interesting story, which I will get to later. I actually want to go on a little bit of a tangent, so you have to hold on for that story from her very beginnings of entering this cosplay world. First, I want to just do a little tangent side story on the cosplay universe, I guess you can say. I have all this random knowledge on all these different interests, unfortunately. Well, I don't want to say unfortunately. So, cosplay, right? It's this new thing that's definitely new age in terms of the big picture. We're talking tens of thousands of years of civilization. Even if you're looking at it from the 100 chunk segment, if you're just looking at it from 100-year chunk segments of the entire history of the human civilization, or even 10-year, decade-long segments, cosplay is, I would say, a very new age sort of thing that's come about. I think the reason being that especially nowadays in the last 20, 30 years, in comparison to the 100,000, 10,000 past years of our civilization, I think we've been a lot more prosperous generally, which has allowed us to do the most random stuff with our free time and our money. And also create burgeoning industries in entertainment. Hence, anime, film, manga, all that stuff. And so, long story short, we've started this new market. I believe it started with Comic Con and then just branched out to other conventions. Then the anime and manga scene started, and then every year since I got into this, which was about maybe 5-10 years ago, I've seen it get more and more ridiculous. And one thing I like a lot is League of Legends. Quick shout out to my gaming channel if you want to check that out. League of Legends is one of those things where cosplay is taking on greater and greater significance every single year, and you just see the most outrageous, crazy costumes because the characters are just ridiculous. You have characters like Vi with huge mechanical arms or fists technically, and people actually, if you Google it, VI space COSPLAY, you will find people who have actually gone out and constructed the mechanical arms almost to a T for every little gear on the outside, and it's just ridiculous because you have these big arms, big fists, and all this mechanical machinery on her back, and it's ridiculous. And people go to the extremes to create these costumes just to show them off and play these characters. And long story short, there's been a huge market for female characters. Some of them who have created careers doing this. Oftentimes they are pretty attractive females. I wouldn't say like Victoria's Secret model type, but they make up for that in their deep knowledge of manga and anime and whatever game it is going on. And because I'm not gonna lie, usually most of the market for this is like 80-90% males. They have a huge market that will feast on them, and boom, they get a huge following. But again, it's not that easy, which I'll get to with the Jessica Nigri stuff. So you have this market here, right? And again, a lot of these cosplay things often require some level of game knowledge and interest in the game itself. And again, you have that market with sometimes, especially with League of Legends. Currently, it's the most played game on a daily basis globally. I think like 10 million people play at once or something ridiculous. Globally, most of the markets in the Asian countries, but a lot's in the U.S. as well, and UK and other markets, Canada as well. But you have this market of all these millions of people playing, most of them men, and then when you get these females coming in, it's great stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty cool to see oftentimes these characters who are already designed to be quite revealing in their cleavage and stuff actually translated to something that's more realistic somewhat with a real person doing it. And you can see there's a market there. But again, generally, I would say most of these females do it for the fun of it. They're not doing it to make money. Let me just get that out. So that's everything in a nutshell, summarized really quickly for those of you out there who don't understand. So now let's get to Jessica Nigri. So she burst into the scene like, I would say 5-6 years ago. And her first appearance was Comic-Con. So these pictures started coming up on the internet, and it was basically this quite attractive, above average attractive, blonde female with large bosom, and she was just in a revealing Pikachu outfit. In fact, it's one of her iconic outfits because it's when she first burst onto the scene. And you can Google it, Jessica Nigri, Nigri, and you'll find the picture if you add in Pikachu at the end. And at first, for like the first 6 months to first year, I think people just thought that this was just some normal, above average, super attractive white girl who ended up going to Comic-Con probably because some company, maybe Nintendo, paid her to dress up as this video game character and appease all the millions of nerds. Actually, I don't think millions go to Comic-Con. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But hundreds of thousands of people that come to these conventions, which, by the way, nowadays they're actually doing that. They're actually paying attractive females to dress up as video game characters just to appease or promote the game, which I think is a great strategy. It's a win-win for everyone, all the guys there, everyone there, the girls getting paid. So if you're a female and you want to get some money, you just check that out. Or if you're a gamer and a female. But I would say for those companies out there, if you want to do that, I think you should probably like find a girl who's actually likes gaming to some extent, because I do think it's somewhat of a turnoff when, you know, these people ask and then the girl is just like, I was paid to come here, I don't know what this character is about, or they only, you know, recite this canned line or summary of the character they were briefed on the day they came to dress up as that character. But anyhow, that's what we thought Jessica Nigri was when she first burst onto the scene. I think I just found random pictures on like stock, like deviant art or whatever, and that's what we thought. That's what she looked like. Just maybe a sorority girl, beautiful girls by the way, but just a random girl who who either got dragged in with her friends or just came onto the scene. And then she started a Facebook fan page. I don't know how I found it, but I found it. And I remember when it started off, she already somehow obtained a following. I think she had like a few thousand, 3,000 followers, and she started posting other pictures, and it started becoming apparent that first off she had quite a following. You know, a few thousands, not nothing to sneeze at. It's more than I have in terms of subscribers. So she had this following, and it started becoming clear that she wasn't just some girl who didn't really understand this. She actually sort of knew about this. It wasn't until later we found out that she was quite the nerd. I feel like she's become even more so of a nerd in terms of anime, manga, and all that stuff now. But long story short, you saw her a few pictures of more cosplays of different characters and all this stuff. And at the time there wasn't much pictures, but so she was posting these random stuff. And I think the next one came, or another convention came, because I remember seeing photos being uploaded of people who, like this man dressed up as the same thing, the sexy female, with this exact same outfit, except this man was overweight and he had all this hair, and it was this Jessica Nigri man, and I commented, it's Jessica Nigri man on the photo, and she uploaded that onto her Facebook page. So anyhow, boom, she's got that, right? And so it's been a while, and then I stumbled across her YouTube, and at the time it was brand new, but she was starting to get interviews as well. And so she was definitely starting to work this, which is very strategic. And basically, there's like this one interview that was done, and you start to get a bigger picture of her, and then you find out that this girl is not like, she's not just some girl who was dragged to this convention. She actually was quite into a lot of this stuff. Apparently she played a lot of RuneScape, which I played a lot of as well. Something about like level, she spent a lot of time on RuneScape. Apparently it's funny, I think the interview is still online, but basically she admitted that she was playing RuneScape while she was before the interview started, and she was actually playing RuneScape during the interview as well. It was some like online interview of her. And then you find out that she's like really into anime. She likes all these Japanese anime. It's very distinct. And then, long story short, she blows up from there. The next year, or maybe it was the year after, she got interviewed by Kasim, who is a very famous YouTuber. He does. I actually like Kasim a lot. At first, I thought he was quite offensive, but I saw again, I've been a subscriber of YouTube for a long time, and so I was watching this video of Kasim like 5 years back, And this guy, he is one of those interviewers who says the most ridiculous stuff and he doesn't care. And he'll say the most crazy stuff, most perverted stuff ever. He doesn't care. That's just how he is. And so he goes to Comic Con and he interviews Jessica Nigri. At the time, she's just this random girl. She's dressed up as like someone from, what's that called? Final Fantasy. And so the video goes up and nothing really happens because he does all these videos and he's just like, okay, so did you really come here or were you paid to come here and dress up like that? And I think what happened next was that it was either that video or the year after when Cassim interviewed her again, and I posted on her Facebook page something like, you just got a Cassim G video released. Prepare for a huge influx of followers and fans. And I was right. Cassim linked her Facebook page in the About section, and boom, in came like 10,000, 15,000 followers or something like that. And she actually replied to me and she's like, I actually said something like, don't forget about me when that happens, just jokingly. And then, boom, 10,000, 15,000 subscribers or followers came along. And she actually responded, oh, I won't forget about you. But little did she know, she did forget about me. Just kidding. So anyhow, as you can see, like even for this girl, it's not easy building a following. It didn't happen overnight, this 2 million following stuff like that. She spent a lot of time building it. And this is just the beginning. So from there, she starts to do all sorts of ridiculous cosplay from all these anime, manga, video games, and then she's creating posters and signed autographs and mailing them out and creating little crafts and then selling them, and then she's trying to work it, and you can tell she loves what she does. Like, I don't think I could do it. I wouldn't love it as much as she did because she's literally spent like God knows how many, 3 or 4 or 5 days constructing these things all day, buying all the ingredients to make these costumes. And to this day, she's done like 200, 300 different cosplay characters, if not more. And she's worked this thing, and then she's got photography, and then she, from what I can see, a lot of it's free. She posts all the pictures online free, and then occasionally she'll get like stuff that she's paid to do. Now she's gotten so famous, I think she's paid to go to certain conventions. Apparently she skipped Comic Con to go to a convention she was paid to go to. Who knows how much. But again, it's one of those things where I definitely think money's always a part of it, but I do think that she very much enjoys what she does, which has allowed her to do it. I mean, I don't think I could spend all the time because I'm not as interested. And she does a lot of stuff, Pokemon, Gears of War, anything you can think of. Assassin's Creed, she's done Zelda, League of Legends, she's done ton of those, Teemo, Riven, and she's worked this thing. Who knows if she actually plays all these games? Sometimes she can't, sometimes she just dabbles in them, I think. But she's definitely worked it really hard, and then years later, like every year Cassim G interviews her, and then every year she gets more and more famous. Like by the time it's the 3rd year, Cassim knows her, and Cassim's like looking to find her, and there's always a huge crowd around her. And so she has a huge following now on YouTube as well, and that's the story in a nutshell. Who knows? I don't know if she actually makes a full-time living doing this. It'd be kind of sad if she still didn't, considering all the work she's put into it. No doubt she gets a lot of like fan mail and fan gifts. Like if you see one of her videos now, her videos are usually just her unboxing all these like plush toys and free clothing she gets from her fans and ridiculous miscellaneous stuff. But again, like that's still not cash. Like who knows if she actually makes a living off of it. Again, it'd be kind of sad if she still doesn't, but I mean, at the same time, not really, because she's doing what she loves, and now she's getting a lot of fan support from it. And so that's it in a nutshell. Again, it's I don't want to spend another hour elaborating on things. I do tend to talk, and my videos tend to be 30, 50 minutes long. So that's everything summarized very succinctly as possible without going too deeply into the details. I mean, I did explore the details quite well. And I guess the only other things I want to throw out is she's married. That was released, but I guess I think it's been pushed aside because again, it's not good for marketing. But again, for me, you know, I think it's best to be honest rather than do something for money, anyways. So, Jessica Nigri, if you ever watch this, I mean, just tell people you're married if you're asked. You don't have to hide it to get more fans, to appear single and more pleasing. I mean, come on. And what else? I think she's definitely someone who fell into a niche. She's someone who I think is very attractive, but also is someone who is very unique, because you get these unique niches that are very niche in that, like, if you talk to 1 in 1,000 people off the street, they won't even have heard of it. But when you have something like the internet that connects everyone around the world, all of a sudden you have 5 million, 10 million people in this niche. So it's no longer this small niche anymore in terms of online. And so that's one of those things where she's sort of been one of those girls who is very attractive and likes these sort of things that a lot of guys usually like. And although I have to be honest, I do think that part of it has been due to that reason. Her sexual appeal, the fact that she's a rarity in her attractiveness and what she likes. She doesn't just dabble in it. A lot of the stuff she does, a lot of the video games she does, she's very, very like into them. Like Call of Duty. I don't know if she does that too much, but a lot of the games and anime and stuff, she's deeply into them, more so than me. And apparently she's very respective, and she understands the Japanese culture very well and all this obscure stuff. And so I think that's what has allowed her to tap into this market. But again, also, she did put a lot of work into it, and she worked it to expand. Her growth was not something instantaneous. It took many years. And if you look on her Facebook fan page, she spent a lot of time creating these cosplays, taking photos of them, what seems like professionally, and uploading them for free for years on end to grow this following. And so I do have a Facebook fan page myself for this channel, which is going pretty crappily. So I think maybe another thing that should be learned is that you kind of have to have some sort of edge to begin with to just grow it. For me, I definitely think I should sort of figure out what my thing is, because my fan page isn't going that well. But anyhow, she's someone who is doing quite well right now, and we'll see where it goes, and we'll see where cosplay goes. I do think that there's more girls than you think that do it, especially if you go to certain conventions. But again, it's still a very niche thing in itself. And again, as far as, I mean, it's one of those things where for her, I definitely think she was at the top of one, like towards above average in attractability, and then above average in this niche knowledge, and then those just combined, and so it created a rarity. And unfortunately, she gets a lot of comments on her YouTube, which are like, oh my goodness, biggest slut on YouTube, exploits the YouTube thumbnail by showing her cleavage, and Step 1, get breast implants. Step 2, profit. Now, I don't know if she got breast implants or anything like that, and I can't deny that it may be partially true. She does tend to exploit her thumbnail somewhat. But I do think that as far as working towards something like that, it's not as simple as you think. And I do think this extends to a lot of YouTube channels. A lot of people who are commenting are usually very ignorant of a lot of things. They're like, I can't believe this person got so successful so quickly and did it just because he was so handsome. And that's not the case at all. Another example is Nash Greer. In fact, even if you go to this video now, you can search on YouTube, Happy space Nash space Grier. It's a video of Nash Greer, who's a Vine superstar, who converted his following to different social media, including YouTube and Twitter. He did a video with Ryan Seacrest where he just lip syncs to the song Happy. He did a video with Ryan Seacrest where he just lip syncs to a song called Happy. And then the top comment, which is still the top comment, has like 500 thumbs up, is like, oh my goodness, these people are only famous because they're super handsome. And I mean, I don't agree, because if you trace it back, he got most of his following from Vine. He got 14 million followers on Vine. He's the #1 follow person on Vine. If you look at his Vines during his golden age, now I feel like he's sort of gone down a bit because maybe because of his success, but he still does pretty good Vines still. He puts a lot of work into them to make people laugh and gain a following. And I actually have a Vine myself, and I've been working that for a while. Hasn't been working too well. It's doing decent actually, but definitely not like Nash Greer. So he definitely, it's not as simple as you think. It wasn't looks, it was something else. Talent in making comedic 6-second videos on Vine. Having said that though, again, am I saying it's the most useful skill that will keep you financially stable for the rest of your life? Not necessarily, which again pushes the point on all these people. So again, that's all I really want to say about this whole thing. And yeah, Jessica Nigri, if I were to meet her, would I like her? Honestly, I don't know. I feel like she'd be pretty annoying. Like, no offense to her, but I do think that, like, from watching her videos, she definitely has a very distinct personality that you wouldn't think she would have from that first picture of her, where she just looks like a typical attractive female who was pulled to a Comic-Con convention one day. Technically she was, but she was pulled to the convention if you hear her story. But from then on, she really got into this. But yeah, she does. I mean, she just seems very quirky and very a little bit too much for me. I can like anime and manga and all this other stuff. Again, check out my manga/anime review channel on YouTube if you have the chance. But I don't have to be all quirky or like ridiculous or super exuberant or super, you know, very somewhat childish. And so, again, no offense to her. If she ever watches this, I hope she doesn't get offended. And that's all I really want to say in a nutshell. So if you like this video, leave it a like, share it with someone you want to share it with, and hit the subscribe button. And I will see you in my next video. Hit the subscribe button so you will know when the next video is coming out. And I feel like there's one last thing I wanted to say about her. I guess just, again, Jessica Nigri is someone who, very surprisingly, It's very interesting because she's definitely one of those girls who, I guess you could say, was on the higher end of the conventional attractability sense, but at the same time, for some reason, she fell into this whole history because, again, before she even got into her first Comic-Con convention with her Pikachu outfit, she had a whole history and childhood of playing RuneScape, and I don't know if she played World of Warcraft, I think she did, and she did all this other nerdy stuff and played video games and all this stuff. And so she's just one of those rarities where these two paths crossed, and she was smart to take advantage of it because a lot of people, like, I see it all the time, not all the time, but often enough, they stumble across something that just clicks, and then they just don't exploit it, or not necessarily exploit it, but work it. I see this a lot. There's a lot of dead YouTube channels who have like 20,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers, or they haven't uploaded video for 5 years. And well, first off, you kind of have to have a passion in it. Second off, if you're just doing it for another reason, like something stupid like making money on YouTube or whatever, that's probably why those channels died out. They sold them or they just got bored of them. But oftentimes, it's just because they don't realize that they have some sort of advantage, and they don't explore it and work it for years to make it grow to something as big as she has now. So I'm curious to see if she can get to 10 million. And my goal is, I'm very confident I will get to 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube one day. Just based on the growth rates right now, although it's very depressing. And I'll talk about this more once I hit the 1,000 YouTube subscribers count. But it always drops off and then slowly rises and drops off. But generally, it's growing. So